Hello, I'm Rob Westervelt, editor of Chemical Week, welcoming you to the 2018 IHS Markit World Petrochemical Conference. And I'm delighted to be joined by Nick Clausi, who is Senior VP Polymers for ExxonMobil Chemical. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Rob, thanks for having me, appreciate it.
Great. Start with a broad question, but give us your view of the petrochemicals market. What type of demand growth are you expecting?
Yeah, I mean, we see demand growth as very robust. As I talked about this morning, it's outpacing energy demand and global GDP. So it's obviously a nice position to be in from our for our industry, and is driving a lot of growth and driving the growth plans for ExxonMobil as well.
Okay, you can talk about those growth plans in the U.S. I know we started out the polyethylene units, and what's the latest on Baytown?
Yeah, so we have a broad portfolio of projects, not just in the U.S. but globally. But yeah, Baytown, we've started up the polyethylene units late last year, and then the cracker will start up here likely in second quarter. And then two others that are probably good to mention would be our joint venture in near Corpus Christi with SABIC, our partner. It'll be a world scale steam cracker with polyethylene and monoethylene glycol derivatives. So that's in the permitting stage, and looking forward to an investment decision on that later this year, and really excited to become a part of the community down in San Patricio County. The other one, which was announced yesterday, is a polypropylene we're now starting engineering work on, and that'll be in the Gulf Coast, 450 KTA polypropylene unit. It'll be capable of making premium ICP products to satisfy some of the growth that we're seeing, particularly in Asia. Great. And so really excited about that one as well. Excellent.
Talk about the U.S. advantage, given Exxon's upstream, downstream chemical presence. Mm-hmm. How durable do you think the advantage is in the U.S. because of Shell on the petrochemical side?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously over the past several years we've seen a pretty nice advantage in terms of ethane cracking and derivatives. And so obviously that's the basis for, or part of the basis for our investments in Baytown and then in Corpus Christi. I mean, if you look long term, advantages come and go, and we take a portfolio approach, and so we don't look at just investments in the Gulf Coast. We're looking at investments around the world, and not just ethane cracking, but liquids cracking, and we even run a crude cracker in Singapore.
Exactly right.
Right, and so that's really kind of our approach, is a portfolio approach and a global approach, because as I mentioned this morning, our big growth markets are in Asia Pacific.
Yeah. I'm curious about ExxonMobil's view, given you mentioned chemicals are growing obviously faster than GDP and obviously faster than energy markets. Mm-hmm. Has that changed how Exxon operates the business, or even its strategic view of the business, given the importance of chemicals is going to be in terms of driving crude demand going forward?
I think, I mean, as far as the chemical company, I don't think it's really changed our strategy. Yeah. I mean, we're pursuing growth in the chemical company consistent with that. Yeah. And you see that translated into the projects that we've been announcing and the portfolio of projects that we're developing. So I don't see that as having really changed.
Okay. And I know your presentation today, you went into ExxonMobil's approach on sustainability. Right. What is ExxonMobil Chemical doing to really advance sustainability? I guess talk about within ExxonMobil and also the broader global industry.
That's a great question. Yeah. So one of the things I mentioned, we're trying to build sustainability into our organization in all parts of it. So manufacturing, technology, supply chain, commercial. And so if you take those kind of one at a time, like on the manufacturing side, we've been progressing sustainability driven initiatives for a while. If you look since 2013, we've improved the energy intensity of our manufacturing operations by about 5%. But we're looking at what are those technologies that we can apply going forward to really step up that rate of improvement, because it's really important. On the technology side, we're really going after increased investment in technologies that have sustainability benefits. And those range from new products, like one that I mentioned this morning on Vistamax, and used as a compatibilizer to increase conventional recycling content for some of our customers. But also longer range things like chemical recycling and how do you take mixed waste plastic and bring it back to light olefin feeds and really bring about a complete circular loop.
Yeah, I think that was an interesting thing. I mean, how far along is that? How long will it take to?
Yeah, I mean, we're really just, I'd say it's at the early stages.
Yeah.
We're starting to look at it. And so it's not something that's really near term, but we're going after and taking a really serious look at it because we see it addresses some of the big hurdles to conventional recycling, right, of sorting and plastics that can't be recycled with one another. It solves a lot of those problems. So we see it as a potential solution, but obviously there's a lot of technical work that needs to be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, obviously, last fall, there's significant impact as a result of Hurricane Harvey on your own operations, and also the communities that you operate in. What was, I guess, with your own operations, how did you respond to the storm, and what actions did you take in your communities?
Yeah, Hurricane Harvey was an unprecedented storm, and I'd say our response too was unprecedented. Our teams along the Gulf Coast, because it was more than just the Houston, we had the Beaumont area as well, really did a spectacular job preparing the plants and managing them through the storm to protect the plants, but as well as the communities around them. And then they did a great job getting those facilities started back up so that we could get products and fuels back, into the communities that needed it. I think the thing that, was so impressive to me though was the teams did that. We had 600 employees that were personally impacted by the floods, and a lot of them were off doing that while they were, having pretty substantial impacts at home. And then afterwards, we saw a tremendous volunteer effort, and I got to see that firsthand of going and helping employees remediate their houses, and you'd see teams of ExxonMobil folks helping fellow employees, but also helping their neighbors. It was really impressive, and it's one of those things that makes me really proud to be a part of ExxonMobil.
Excellent. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely, thanks so much, I appreciate it.
Thanks.